Well, let's do it. Let's get into our dirty dogs of the week. Look, if you don't know what that is, it is 10-point underdogs. CD and I, we do a draft pre-show, so you're not here when we're actually drafting it, but the underdogs have to be at least 10-point underdogs. All right, for us to be putting them on dirty dogs. They're not a dirty dog if it's like a 2.5-point spread, even a 6.5. If it's within a touchdown, baloney. If it's a double-digit spread, that is a dirty dog. On the year, we're 6-22 finding these things out. If you were to bet these, which we don't advise doing that because these are dirty dogs. We'd be up 3.05 units on the year, so that's pretty solid. I mean, I think we are hitting at a crazy clip this year, and we hit one last week, Vanderbilt plus 440, because I hit that one. That means I get the first pick. So my first dirty dog of the week, I'm going to roll with Old Dominion plus 300 at home against Texas State. You're like, oh my gosh, Texas State's a good football team. Old Dominion, who's playing quarterback? What's going on there? It doesn't matter. Old Dominion, I know they're 0-2 ATS at home this season, but they've kind of given some teams some issues this season. I think they still have some talent on that defensive side of the football. I think they can do enough maybe offensively. I mean, Texas State has got at times on the defensive side of the football. I think going on the road here, it's kind of a long travel. Not gonna lie, it's only one time zone, but it's pretty far. So I think Old Dominion's like 10.5. This might not be the only time we're talking about Old Dominion on the rest of the show, but give me Old Dominion plus 300 as my first dirty dog.
Don't hate that for you. You've been super hot this year, so obviously whatever you think is your best play, you go for that there. I'm going to go back to the American. We just talked about Memphis and North Texas. Give me UAB plus 400. I know. Trent Dilfer this, Trent Dilfer that. UAB is terrible, right? But they've also played a brutal schedule. Let me list out some of their games for you, all right? ULM, who's turning out to be an absolute player in the Sun Belt. Arkansas on the road, who's a 3-point dog to LSU right now. Navy, Tulane, and Army. 3 teams that are playing fantastic football in the American right now. South Florida, I know, has also played a pretty tough schedule with Alabama, Miami, and the out-of-conference, as well as Tulane and Memphis to open their year. Both these teams, I think, maybe a little bit better than the record says. I don't think they're great. If you want to talk about some edge, though, South Florida looked like an absolute different football team without their quarterback. Sounds like he'll be out for a while. I know UAB is nothing special to write home about. I know Jalen Kitna didn't look the best at all with the interceptions, so they couldn't run the ball against Army. But if you want to talk about finding some kind of edge at plus 400, why not? Why not Trent Dilfer fighting to get a win in the American? Both teams desperately need this one. But sometimes when 2 bad football teams get together, sometimes the even worse team wins. So let's go UAB plus 400.
Yeah, that's not crazy. There's just no way I could put UAB on my dirty dogs, but I respect you for that. I'm going to go back to a team that you took last week. I think you were maybe a week early. I know SMU is hot, but give me the MI trees. Give me Stanford plus 500. SMU is traveling all the way there. Now they're only crossing, 1 or 2 time zones? So it's not as far as some of those East Coast teams traveling all the way to the West Coast for Stanford. But I don't know. They played a pretty terrible, 3 quarters of football after that first quarter against Notre Dame. I think they can get off the mat here. I think Troy Taylor, he's going to find wins in the ACC this year. I think he's going to. It's just where. Kevin Jennings has been so good. Redshirt Smith is healthy. They're coming off of a bye too, which is even smellier for me. I think maybe they come out a little flat. And Stanford gets off the mat. Stanford plus 500. I don't love that, but I'll take it.
It's not crazy at all. You know how I felt about them last week? Listen, part of me really wants to take Purdue plus 1,700, but I think I'm just throwing money away. And obviously, this is not the Purdue, the spoiler makers that we've seen in the past. I don't think they have the talent. Georgia Tech seems super interesting at plus 11.5. Georgia Southern. But you know what? I'm going to go to Tuesday night Conference USA. Give me New Mexico State plus 360 against Louisiana Tech. Now, I know Louisiana State's not very good. They have not looked good all year. But you know who also has not looked very good? Louisiana Tech. I know they got a big win last week against an awful football team, by the way. Evan Bullock threw for 5 touchdowns. That was awesome. I get that. But you want to talk about some edges here? I don't know. Something tells me that they're going to be ready to go down there at home Tuesday night. We've seen friskier things happen in the Conference USA. That conference seems wide open right now. Let's do it. Give me Parker Awad, right? Let's see it. Something happened there. Mike Washington running the football. Seth McGowan. They got some depth there at the running back position. Let's see it. Let's see it. How about the Aggies?
I would say also their secondary probably has outperformed their front seven this year. And if Louisiana Tech is going to move the football, it's probably going to be through the air. So could be a little bit of an interesting matchup right there. What's going to break? Is it going to be New Mexico State secondary, which, it has at times, or Louisiana Tech's passing offense, which it has at times. But I would say that Louisiana Tech throws the ball better than they run it, and New Mexico State defends the pass better than they defend the run. So not crazy at all. Those are our dirty dogs right there for the Spotify listeners. I'll recap it. Old Dominion plus 300, UAB plus 400, Stanford plus 500, and New Mexico State plus 360.